Match day is finally here. It's the second leg of the Eastern Conference Championship, and that means three things actually, as in your three keys to the match. Gareth Wheeler with you. Now before we get to the keys, there are some other elements that we should address out of the second leg against the Columbus Crew. The first is the whole idea of rust. The team confident that it will not be an issue. Yes, there hasn't been a lot of games. Yes, there's been 8 days off. Yes, Josie Altidore, Sebastian Giovinco haven't played for 23 days, but the team doesn't foresee this being an issue. These are motivated players. They'll be raring to go, and freshness is a good thing over the course of the latter stages of the season. Secondly, the field conditions will be immaculate. No issue at all. It'll be above freezing at kickoff in Toronto, so the weather, the pitch conditions will be a non-factor come Wednesday night. And finally, the shape of Toronto FC. How do they line up? Well, that remains to be seen, but I have a hunch that you're going to see Toronto FC revert back to their typical attack-minded 3-5-2 formation that they've rolled out so successfully over the course of the season. So those are the little tidbits. Let's get down to business. Here are your keys to the match. The first key, it sounds simple, but let's go there. Strike first. Obviously, Toronto FC needs to win this game, and scoring first would set them up well for what's to come in the matchup and maybe force Columbus out of their comfort zone just a little bit. But on the season, Toronto FC 19-1-2 on the year when scoring the first goal in a game. That is an incredible record. And conversely, the Columbus Crew 3-9-2 on the year when allowing the first goal. So it's hard to think or picture Columbus coming back in a game where they get down early, especially considering how Toronto FC is the fittest team in Major League Soccer. They've proven it over the course of the season, scoring 24 goals in the last 15 minutes of games. In comparison, Columbus only scored 8 goals on the year in the last 15 minutes of games. So the longer the game goes on, and if the Crew end up chasing, that means very good things for Toronto FC. So it's a simple one, but an important one come Wednesday. The second key, look to the left. For me, this is going to be the critical area of the field, which will really decide how the game plays out. The left-hand side for Toronto FC and the right for Columbus. Let's start from a defensive perspective. The Crew love to overload certain areas of the park, none more so than the right-hand side. Pedro Santos is an absolute menace. I thought he was the best Crew player in the first leg of this tie, and when Federico Higuain starts coming over to that side with Harrison Offal overlapping, that's really where the danger's created from the Crew perspective. It's going to be incumbent on Chris Mavinga, Justin Morrow, and whatever midfield slotting over to that left-hand side to take care of that area of the park. So defensively, that's where Toronto FC is really going to have to hone in and limit what the Crew can do. From an attacking perspective, in the first leg, Justin Morrow wasn't utilized enough going forward, in my opinion. You got to get him involved. You got to make sure that you use the width of the field, because when you start to play a little bit more narrow, you almost let the Columbus Crew off the hook to a certain degree. When Morrow's overlapping, getting into deep line positions down that left-hand side and becoming a goal-scoring threat, that's when Toronto FC is at their most dangerous. So this area of the field, down the Toronto's left and Columbus right, it's going to go a long way to determining who's going to prevail come Wednesday. And finally, let's go with the not-so-secret service. Agent Giovinco, Agent Altidore, back in action for Toronto FC. Yes, it's been a long layoff, but more so than the players and their match fitness, it's about the service that's provided to the two players, getting them involved in the game. Toronto FC struggled to create in the attacking third in the first leg. The service just wasn't quite there, only completing 59% of passes in the attacking third in the game in Columbus. They're going to have to be much more sharp, clinical in tight spaces with proper movement off the ball to take advantage, for me, what is a Columbus Crew back line that lacks foot speed, that lacks quickness. TFC are much better in this area, but the quality in passing and distribution has to be there. They need to clean it up. It's the last 3 games, taking into consideration the 2 games against the Red Bulls as well, where Toronto FC's passing has lacked that sharpness. Better quality will go a long way to creating those chances. TFC hasn't been shy about it. They think that they're going to go out and score at least 2 goals come Wednesday night, but the quality and service has to be there. all the talk is being done, all the tactical preparations have been made. There'll most certainly be in-game adjustments, plenty to watch out for over the course of 90-plus minutes. But when you get down to it, it's all about individual execution. This is a veteran Toronto FC team. They have the experience of last year's playoff run, coming away with winning a Supporters' Shield, facing adversity in so many different ways, so many different times. It's just about this massive stage and providing the platform for these individuals to shine. We'll see who shines the brightest come Wednesday night. Kickoff shortly after 7:30 in what should be a raucous BMO Field. You can watch on TSN, listen on Sportsnet The Fan 590.